Alright, well thanks for purchasing the door braces for the Mitsubishi Eclipse. This little video will show you how to what you're going to get, what tools you need, and there's a couple mods you need to do on the door pulls inside the car. I'll show you how to do those and get it all put together. Hopefully by the time it's done you'll see how easy it is to do. So anyways, what you're going to get two of the door pulls. You're going to get the standoffs, 2 sets of those, the bolts, the washers, everything you need to put the things in the car. Tool wise, I need a 10mm. I'm using a ratchet, but you can use a wrench to put it in. You will need something at least this long to get down and remove the existing bolts that are in there. Screwdriver, it'll help you pull the old door pull apart. And I'm going to use a Dremel tool with a little cutoff wheel to do the mod. You can also use a file, just a razor knife or something like that. But anyways, once you see what I'm doing, you'll see what tool works for you. Dremel works real quick. So anyways, let's move over to the car and show you how to take that thing apart. Alright, so for this we'll do the passenger side. This is just the stock door pull. To remove it, just use a flat edge screwdriver, and there's a seam here. So mine's pretty loose. I've had it apart several times. I find it easier if you kind of just come into the top and pry it loose here. And once you've got it loose, you can put the screwdriver in the edge and just pop it loose. Now mine's been apart probably 8 or 10 times. What there is there's little tabs here that are holding this on. You're going to break some of them off. That's just inevitable. There's also a larger little tab that locks in on the ends. Okay, that's usually the hardest part to pry out. Again, mine's been out probably 10 times. So you can see there's several tabs missing, but even with that, it still snaps in. It's not going to fall off of there. So anyways, there's a couple parts we need to modify on this. This has some extensions that run down in these holes. Well, since there's going to be a brace in here, we're going to have to cut these off. Also, the way this part is held onto the car is there's a 10mm bolt down in here, and there's a 10mm bolt here. Those will have to come out because we're going to replace them. But you'll notice this little raised section here, and then there's another one right up here. This one doesn't stand up necessarily, but you can see there's a screw in that one. There's also one in here. What Mitsubishi does is they assemble this piece onto the door panel before assembly. That way they just slide it all in and then snap the front cover over it. This one's going to have to be cut down because it needs to be the height of these little ridges here for the brace to fit in there. So I'll go ahead and pull the two 10mm bolts out. Again, see how far that runs down in there? So you'll need something pretty deep. There's the top one. And there's the bottom one. It's stuck in there. I'll just have to get a pair of needles to pull it out. But it's basically the same bolt. But since it's so far down in there, you will need a standoff. Alright, let's move back over and I'll show you how to trim these things up. One thing I did mention, always do safety. Be sure and wear some safety glasses when you're cutting this thing. Now again, what we need to do is we need to trim these pieces off right here. And again, you can use it, a razor knife, or if you've got just a regular hand file, whatever it takes to remove this piece. And you need to remove it down where it's down flush. Okay, with all this, because we're going to be setting this metal bar down inside there, so as you can see, that won't work. So it's not real hard. Just practice safety, keep your hands out of the way. There's one. And there's 2. So you'll need to do that on both sides, driver's and passenger side. Anyways, I'm going to go show you which pieces to cut on the door, and then we'll get on assembling this thing. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to trim this little piece out right here. And that's it. Alright, let me gather the pieces up and we'll put this thing together. Okay, we're back at the door. Again, you're going to get 2 of these plates. The plates are cut the same, and they set right in. If for some reason it doesn't set in, just flip it over, because the doors are mirror image of each side. So you get a bolt and washer, put the washer on, drop them in place, and then your standoffs. So effectively, you're like this. Set them in so you can feel the threads. And draw them down. Now, if you want, you could put some thread lock on the threads when you put them in. I really don't think it's going to be necessary. But if you want to, you can. Then you take your handle, snap it on, and you're all set. Now you're all braced up. Alright, that's it.